Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I can sort of reflect now on over 2 months of constant work doing sport shows around the Northeast and talking to thousands of people and listening to thousands of people tell me the things that they're most interested in. And one of them that came out of all these shows is the number of people that still fish with live bait. You know, such a big part of TV shows and even radio shows and on the internet is all about the development of artificial baits, the use of artificial baits, the sportiness of artificial baits. But how about for people that just enjoy going out and catching fish? And I really believe that a lot of you that are listening to me right now on the radio, you're probably not avid fishermen. You're people that are interested in the different things that we have here to make our life more enjoyable in the North Country, and fishing is one of them. But I do believe, I had so many people that I talked to. I'll give you a very specific example. Down in Oneida County, near Utica, there was a sports show, the last one that we did. And so many of the people that came up to me were really eager for the beginning of trout season. And I would ask all of them. I know people don't want to give you their favorite places because that's their sort of home-kept secret. But I would ask them where they would go. A lot of times people would say the West Canada Creek or some of these waters a good deal distance south of us. And so that they sort of warm up. They come into the season earlier. And so when trout season opens, where our waters are still cold and high, a lot of the waters down there are more amenable, and a lot of the streams have been stocked already. So anyway, I'd ask them, okay, so how are you catching the fish? Because people would show me pictures of the trout they catch and tell me about the great times they had. And I always listen. But they would, when I asked them what they used, almost to a person would tell me live bait. Usually angleworms, night crawlers, but angleworms more than anything. And it really makes me realize that I think we neglect talking about live bait. I really do. I think that it's something that let's look at this from another angle. Think of all the lures that we buy, and what is the one thing that these companies try to do with those lures, except for get us to buy them? But what are they trying to make them be? They're trying to make them look like something that lives or exists in the water where these fish are. We try to make lures look like live bait. Why? Because that's the reason fish hit them. The one reason that fish bite more than any other is they're trying to take in food. They want something to eat, and naturally they want something that tastes good, that smells good, that instinctively makes them strong and allows them to keep living. And so live bait is normally what they're going to prefer. Now, there's times when fish will hit artificials, I think, more than live bait. But those times are more not when they're eating. They're in rest periods when all of a sudden we make something go by them to get their interest, and something triggers. Something, whether they still, well, okay, since it's going by, I'll eat it. But they're not actively seeking live bait. They're not actively seeking a school of minnows or eating nymphs that are rising from the bottom upward. And at this time, artificials probably will catch more fish. But I think it's important. I guess what I really wanted to emphasize today is that live bait does play a huge part in most fishermen's life. Even the pros, when they first started out years ago, they might have started using live bait, and it taught them what fish are looking for and so forth. And I think that we cast a pallor over live bait fishing. I think we make it sound unsporting. Number one, does it allow people to enjoy catching fish? Enjoyment is the key word. And if people enjoy catching fish with live bait, then more to it. I think one of the disadvantages of live bait and I think this is something we should be aware of, is that there's a much greater risk to damaging the fish unless we're really sensitive to what's going on. A lot of times people will stick a pole in sort of a little rod rest that they build using a twig or something. They'll stick that in the ground, and then they'll rest the pole on it, and then they'll sit and watch. And a lot of times they might not see the line just twitching a little bit when a fish hits it. And so there's a big danger that by the time we're aware that we've got a bite, that the fish has probably swallowed the bait, and that with it swallowed the hook. And so there is a greater risk. Now, if people are out fishing, not to catch and release, but to take home the New York State daily limit that they're allowed to do, then this might not be as big a factor to them. Again, I think back to when I was a kid, and live bait fishing made up a huge part of all the thousands and thousands of hours that I spent on the water, that I spent developing what my character would become, what I would love in life. And this is something that has stayed with me forever. And while I haven't fished with live bait for ages, I still, if I went out under the same conditions that existed when I was a kid, I would love it. And maybe a lot of you listening would love it too. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.